I am Aparna Sharma, tutor for chemistry, and today we will be covering the chapter hydrogen. Before we start the session, briefly I will run through how to access revision notes and test in Play6 website. Go to play6.com, click on practice, and since we are doing here NEET Premium, let us select the package NEET Premium. And NEET Premium has 4 test series, that is one subject wise, where you will have for physics, chemistry, biology, and one NEET full test. And at the top we have the revision notes. If you click on revision notes, it opens in a new tab, and under each category we are having test series arranged chapter wise. And if you look at the chapter wise, each bubble represents a test, and green indicates that the test is already taken, blue indicates that test is yet to be taken, and R is a random test. To assign random test, but it will be from the same chapter if we need any additional practice. And it does not mean that if test is taken you cannot take it again. It is a test which can be taken n number of times. And in today's class, for some time, let us learn the concept of hydrogen, and then we will focus on the test questions, or you can say sample test questions which is being asked. So let us go back to the chapter, that is hydrogen. We all know about hydrogen, or there are many concepts which we have studied about hydrogen. And if we talk about hydrogen, we can compare hydrogen with halogen. Both halogen and hydrogen will have the tendency to exist as diatomic molecule. But when we talk about the position of hydrogen in any of the periodic table, for example, it is Mendeleev's periodic table or modern periodic table, just because of some of its properties, that hydrogen resembles alkali metals, and in some properties it resembles halogens, they are unable to assign a proper position to hydrogen. And hydrogen halides will be basically different from the halides of alkali metals, though they will have similar molecular formulae. And if we talk about the position of the periodic table, it is anomalous. It is just because that hydrogen sometimes it behaves like an alkali metal and sometimes it behaves like a halogen. That is why a name of for hydrogen is given, that is called as row element. So if we suppose discuss halogen in or hydrogen, if we can say that hydrogen is going to exist as H2 molecule, and basically if we say it will constitute for 10 percentage of the universe. So when we say 10 percentage of the total mass of the universe, and hydrogen of course exists in form of 3 isotopes. So we all know the isotopes of hydrogen, and hydrogen is going to exist in 3 form of your or isotopes of hydrogen. We say protium, deuterium, and tritium. So basically when we talk about protium, it will have no neutron, because what is isotopes? Isotopes will differ in the number of neutrons. Isotopes differ in the total number of neutrons. Hence when we compare protium, deuterium, and tritium, protium has no neutron, deuterium has one, and tritium will have two neutrons. So it is the first element in the periodic table. Just because we can say that its position is anomalous, as it is going to resemble alkali metal and halogens. So yes, it is very important to note that the characteristics of hydrogen. If we say it is having an anomalous nature, why it has? So what are all the similar properties of hydrogen that is going to resemble alkali metal, and how it is going to differ from alkali metal? If we talk about similarities with alkali metal, it will have same number of valence electrons, and like alkali metal, it's of course it is electropositive in nature, or it has electropositive character, and oxidation state is +1 as like in HCl. And one of the important factor of is it act as a very good, or we can say strong reducing agent. And when we say this difference, why it cannot be categorized completely into alkali metal, there should be some difference with alkali metal. So when we say ionization energy of hydrogen is high as compared to alkali metals, but ionization energy of alkali is basically less, and it will show non-metallic behavior, but whereas alkali metal is going to show metallic behavior, diatomic molecule as monoatomic gas, and hydrogen is mostly going, or it will have the tendency of forming covalent bond. But that is a very big difference, that your alkali metals form, or they have the tendency of forming ionic bond, but hydrogen forms covalent bond. And when we talk about the characteristics in the same way with halogen, how it is being related with halogens. So if we talk about halogen similarities, hydrogen will have only ionization energy less than the noble gas. And ionization energy of hydrogen is approximately, we can say, or it is close to fluorine. Ionization energy of hydrogen is approximately or very close to fluorine. And when we say oxidation state of hydrogen, it becomes -1. That is, we have spoken about oxidation state even in similarities with alkali metal, that it is +1. But when hydrogen combines with any element to form its hydride, then it exhibits an oxidation number of -1 in many compounds. Hence, we could say that it is having the behavior of halogen as well as the behavior of alkali metal. And hydrogen has very fewer tendencies to accept electrons, just like the and it will have no unshared electron pair, and their oxide is basically neutral in nature. So these are all the difference between halogens and your hydrogen. So they are given a characteristics that is called as it is anomalous in nature, that is it behaves both as a just like alkali metals, or it behaves as the halogens. That is why it is said that position of hydrogen in periodic table is anomalous, and because of this it is called as log element. And the compounds of hydrogen with halogen, if we say, it forms hydrogen halides, and they will be having very low boiling point as well as, or you can say they are very low boiling covalent compounds. So when we say about hydrogen formation, one concept which we should know is considered, or it is called as dihydrogen. Basically what happens, dihydrogen is prepared in the laboratory, and it is formed in labs by reacting with your zinc granules or granulated zinc with dilute hydrochloric acid, and it will give you ZnCl2, and here we get the dihydrogen. In the same way, dihydrogen can be prepared when zinc reacts with sodium hydroxide. It will give you sodium zincate and dihydrogen. And this is the most famous, or we can say it is the commercial method of preparation, or even the commercially it is being prepared by electrolysis of water, that is by using platinum electrodes. So there are multiple methods being used in order to prepare dihydrogen. Like for example, it is also used to prepare from the steam and coal. When the steam and coal can be used to produce dihydrogen, that is when coal and steam reacts, it will give you carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And carbon, and even sometimes it is used, the carbon dioxide produced can be removed by rubbing it with sodium arsenide. That is when carbon monoxide reacts with H2O, it gives carbon dioxide and H2. So the carbon dioxide which is being produced in this can be removed by rubbing it with sodium arsenide. So basically we are saying, out of all the available methods for preparation of dihydrogen, different methods are being used for preparation of dihydrogen. Few are by they are using petroleum method, also by electrolysis method, and many other methods, whichever is commercially being successful, or we can say the production quantity is high, then we say that this method is a successful one. And when we talk about the physical properties of dihydrogen, as of course we all know, it is a colorless, odorless and tasteless, and of course the vapor density of dihydrogen is equal to 1, which is basically considered to be lighter than air. And its solubility in H2O, when we talk about solubility of dihydrogen in H2O, it is very less. And the important part will be the chemical properties. We all should know that it is chemically inert at room temperature, and its chemical nature, that is chemical nature of dihydrogen, will totally depend upon the bond dissociation energy. And bond dissociation energy is high because of the comparable size. Due to small size, it will require high temperature to break the bond, and that is approximately 2000 Kelvin or more than that. So at 5000 Kelvin, it will get completely, or you can say 95.95% dissociates. That is dihydrogen, if it is 2000 Kelvin or more than that, at 5000 Kelvin, it will approximately, we could conclude, or we can say it will be completely dissociates. And although the bond dissociation energy is very high, but still hydrogen is a reactive element. Hydrogen is a reactive element, and hence we say that hydrogen gas has explosive flammability, which causes problem to its storage and transportation. Hydrogen can be stored in vacuum isolated cryogenic tank. Just because of its reactive nature, it is considered as it is very explosive and flammable. And when we talk about reaction with the metal at high temperature, it will react with metals like potassium, sodium, calcium to form respective hydrides. It can form hydrides when it is reacting. Even dihydrogen, it will react with oxygen to form water, and the reaction is exothermic in nature. That is, hydrogen plus oxygen will give us H2O. And reaction, if we are talking how it reacts with halogen, it's a well-known fact that it will react with halogens to form respective halides. Like if we say H2 plus Cl2, it will give us 2HCl. So hydrogen chloride. And it will react with many non-metals also to form hydrides. Like with sulfur, it will form sulfide. With oxygen, it forms oxide. With fluorine, it forms fluorides, and so on. Like for example, we can say H2 plus S, that will give us H2S. So it is reacting with hydrogen plus sulfur is giving us hydrogen sulfide. And yes, why we say that hydrogen act as a very good reducing agent. As it act as a reducing agent because if for example you can say copper oxide plus H2 will give us copper plus H2O. So we could say that it is having the tendency of acting as a reducing agent because it helps in removal of oxygen. It helps in removal of oxygen. So there are many properties which is being used. So what are all the basic properties which we could say that hydrogen or sorry dihydrogen is being used? It is used as a rocket fuel because it has it is used as a rocket fuel because it has very high calorific value, and it will help in the synthesis of ammonia, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid, and many more. And yes, it is also helpful in synthesis of vanaspati, or what we say it as a ghee. And it is a very good reducing agent. The best use of hydrogen is that is it is used as a rocket fuel because of its high calorific value, and it acts as a very good reducing agent. And when we talk about hydrides, the dihydrogen is going to combine with many other elements to form hydrides. So when we say about hydrides, why we say as hydrides, dihydrogen will combine with number of elements to form hydride, and this is the general formula like magnesium hydride or many, you can say boron hydride. There are three types of hydride existing. Basically there are three types of hydride, that is one ionic hydride, second covalent, and third metallic. Ionic hydride, covalent, and metallic. So three ionic hydride, that means they are basically formed with metals with high reactivity react with hydrogen. They are formed when metals with high reactivity will react with hydrogen. And metals, so out of lithium, beryllium, magnesium, hydrides have high covalent character. So when we talk about characteristics of ionic hydride, the first thing it should come to us is they have crystalline structure with high melting point and boiling point. They have crystalline structure with high melting and boiling point, and basically their density is higher than that of the metals. Their density is higher than that of the metals. And if we talk in molten state, they will have the tendency to conduct electricity and they will liberate hydrogen gas. In molten state, they have the tendency to conduct electricity and liberate hydrogen gas. And when it is reacting with metals, we all know when they react with water to form hydroxides and liberate hydrogen gas. And when we talk about the temperature, what is the effect of temperature on dihydrogen? So we could say that hydride, they decompose into consequence on heating. They will basically decompose, like if you are taking calcium hydride and if I heat, yes, of course, we should maintain a temperature of 675 to 775 Kelvin. It will decompose to give calcium and hydrogen. It will decompose to give calcium and hydrogen. And when we talk about covalent or like your molecular hydride, they are mainly formed by p block elements and very few even s block elements, which all have less electronegativity difference compared to hydrogen, which have less electronegativity difference than hydrogen. So when we talk about that is covalent or molecular hydride, they are basically binary compounds and they form or they have covalent bond. And yes, of course, they should have less electron than its octet. That is, it should be electron deficient. Then only it is possible for it to form covalent hydride. And they will have So, and when we talk about metallic hydride, it is hydrogen combining with D and F block elements. It is a hydrogen which is combining with D and F block elements. And out of all the group, if we say like 6, 7, 8, 9, they will not form hydride. But yes, of course, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, these group can form hydride. So the inability, that is for the group 6, 7, 8, and 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9, they do not have the tendency of forming hydride. And the inability of these hydride, that is inability of these group which do not have the tendency of forming the hydride to form hydride, they are called as hydride gap. They are called as hydride gap. When they do not have the tendency of forming hydride, they are called as hydride gap. And when we talk about very important and our day-to-day life, that is water. It covers around 71% of our Earth's surface, but we all know its uniform, sorry, its distribution, we could say that it is not uniform because ocean 97 percentage, ice caps 1 percentage, and remaining only it is H2O. And of course, when we talk about the physical properties, it is a tasteless and odorless liquid. It will freeze at 273 Kelvin, and its boiling point is 373 Kelvin, and density, it is 1 gram per cubic. So it has, if hydrogen, due to this, it is existing as an associated molecule. So therefore it is having the high freezing point, high boiling point, and high heat of vaporization. Hence we could say that the order for decrease of this property, if we talk, it is like H2O is greater than H2S, greater than H2SE, and so it has high thermal conductivity, dipole movement, dielectric constant, and high specific value. And as of course, we all know that water is a very good solvent. And in winter, basically, if we say in winter, frozen ice provide thermal insulation, and that is why it is being helpful in survival of aquatic life. That is why it is being helpful in survival of aquatic life. And yes, when we talk about chemical properties, it's already discussed. When it is react with metal, it will form hydroxide, that is Na plus H2O. If we say it is NaOH plus H2. That is, it reacts with metal to form hydroxide and hydrogen gases liberated. And we all know water is amphoteric in nature. So amphoteric in nature means it will react with acid as well as a base. Water has the tendency to react with acid as well as with base. And next property says as autopyrolysis. Autopyrolysis means water has the capacity, or it has the tendency to undergo self-decomposition. It has the tendency to undergo self-decomposition. That is, we can react H2O plus H2O will give us H3O plus OH minus, H3O plus OH minus. And, and water, it's very important, or water has a very important role in photosynthesis. That is, it is helpful. It helps the plant in preparing food with the concept carbon dioxide plus H2O will give us C6H12O6 plus O2. And carbon dioxide, that is your glucose and oxygen gas. And what is hydrolysis? When we say water dissolves many ionic compounds, and it can also help in dissociating the compounds. That is, Water has the tendency of dissolving many ionic compounds, as well as it also helps in dissociating the compounds. That is why we can say that water undergoes hydrolysis. And when we talk about hardness of water is being calculated, or types of hard water, we can say there are two types of hard water. Sorry, there are two types of water: hard water and soft water. Hard means, of course, we all know it will not form lather with soap, and soft, it will form lather with soap. For example, we can say it as the rain water. For hard water, we could consider the example as to be seawater. So it, and why we say that there is a presence of, or we are saying water to be different types, because if we find the presence of calcium and magnesium, that is Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus, we say that the water is hard. And the water with these salt, the water with these salt, that is your calcium and magnesium, we consider that water to be hard water. And the salt basically are magnesium, bicarbonates, sulfates, chlorides, or calcium bicarbonates, sulfates, and these things. So when water is combined with these salt, it is considered to be hard water. And hard water actually will contain calcium and magnesium, and that will react with soap to form insoluble precipitate, and we all know the term, it is called as scum. So hard water, calcium and magnesium salt that react with soap to form insoluble precipitate, and that is called as scum, which sticks on the cloth, and therefore we say that it is not used for the purpose of laundry, or it can't be used for laundry purpose. So due to the formation of scum or lather is not produced in the soap or with the soap, we could say there are two types of hardness. One is temporary hardness and the other one is permanent. Temporary hardness, if we say, it is due to the presence of, or it is due to soluble calcium hydrogen carbonate and magnesium hydrogen carbonate, or simple we could say calcium and magnesium bicarbonates. That is temporary hardness, if we say, it is due to the presence of calcium and magnesium bicarbonates, and permanent, it is due to the presence of soluble magnesium and calcium chlorides and sulfides. It is due to the presence of permanent magnesium, calcium, and that is in sulfide forms. And next, when we talk about is hydrogen peroxide. So when we say hydrogen peroxide, that is H2O2. And when we are saying H2O2, that is hydrogen peroxide, what do we know in it, or what is compulsory to know in it? Hydrogen peroxide is a very good, or it is the most important chemical which is used for population control. It is the most important chemical which is used in population control, and it is a very good, or we could say it is helpful in treatment of domestic and industrial effluents. And the most common method, or the most common method for preparation of hydrogen peroxide is from barium peroxide. That is by action of dilute sulfuric acid. And if we are taking a thin paste of barium peroxide and it is made in ice cold water, and then if we add that slowly to ice cold sulfuric acid, the white precipitate which is formed of various barium sulfate will be removed by filtration, and the left behind will be the dilute solution of hydrogen peroxide. So simple we can say barium oxide, when it is reacting with sulfuric acid, it will give barium sulfate plus hydrogen peroxide. So the barium peroxide that is being used here should be hydrated. Otherwise, barium sulfate which forms here will start forming the protective layer on barium peroxide, and that will prevent further reaction. Hence, it is very necessary that the barium peroxide that is being used should be in hydrated form, And there are many other methods which can be used for the preparation of hydrogen peroxide. But when we talk about the physical properties, it will be pure in state, it is colorless liquid, and it is miscible with water in all proportion, and it will form a hydrate. And yes, it act as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent, and the plus point with it is in both acidic and alkaline medium, it will act as an oxidizing as well as reducing agent in both acidic and alkaline medium. And when it is being exposed to light, it will undergo decomposition. When it is being exposed to light, it undergoes decomposition. That is, we could say, in the presence of metal surface, or if it is having traces of alkali which is present in glass container. Therefore, to prevent decomposition, it is being stored in dark within wax lined glass or plastic vessel, because when it is being exposed to light, it has the tendency or it has the capacity to undergo decomposition. That in order to prevent that decomposition, it is being stored in dark within wax lined glass or plastic vessels. And when we talk about application, that is where it is being used. It is used as for bleaching hair. It is used in population control treatment, and it is used as a bleaching agent in making paper, pulp, etc. So there are many application for hydrogen peroxide. And when we talk about what is heavy water, we all know it is T2O. And in this, the isotope of hydrogen, that is, we learned about three isotopes of hydrogen: protium, deuterium, and tritium. But in order to form heavy water, the isotope hydrogen, that is tritium, is being used, and it is prepared by prolonged electrolysis of water. Prolonged electrolysis of water is a method which is being used in order to prepare heavy water. And of course, this is also colorless, odorless, and tasteless liquid. But here the condition is it is heavier than water. And that is when we say T2O, it will, heavy water will, on electrolysis, it will give T2 plus O2. And when any of the heavy water, suppose it reacts with a metal, Na plus D2O, then it gives Na plus H2. So in the same way, it helps in the formation of deuterates that is being used. Hence, we could say that for the formation of heavy water, we use the isotope deuterium. So alkali metals is going to act as a reducing agent because of their tendency to lose valence electron. In the similar way, hydrogen is also very good reducing agent. And when we say saline hydrides, that is formed because of the transference of the electrons from the metal to hydrogen. And do remember once again, elements of group 7, 8, and 9 of the D blocks, they do not have the tendency of forming hydride. And the property of the maximum density at 273 Kelvin is the most important factor for the survival of aquatic animals during winter months, because the upper layer of seawater will freeze and it helps in protecting the aquatic animals. It is a boon, or it is a, we can say, a very important property of it which helps in the survival of aquatic animals. With this, we end the concept of hydrogen chapter, and let us try taking a test from the chapter hydrogen. So here we need to go to the chapter hydrogen. Let us. So this is the first question, that is the lightest element in the periodic table. From the option, it would be very clear that lightest element are placed at the beginning on the periodic table, and of course hydrogen will be the answer. Let us save that and go to next. Hydrogen finds a place in seventh group of periodic table. Why? Because it has the, or it is having the tendency of formation of hydride, that is your sodium hydride. Save that and go. In this chapter you will not find answering the question to be difficult, because of course it all will be a theoretical or just an analysis of the properties. The name hydrogen was proposed by well-known fact, it is Lavoisier. The name hydrogen was proposed by Lavoisier. Let us save that and go to next. Which of the following gas is the lightest? From the given option, which of the following gas is the lightest? Among the given one, of course, dihydrogen should be the lightest, because the vapor density of it will be 1. Let us save that and go to next question. Electronic configuration of deuterium is electronic configuration of deuterium. So when we talk about electronic configuration of hydrogen or protium or deuterium, it is going to be, for deuterium it should be 1s1. Let us save that and go to next. Tritium emits which option? So tritium emits. What is tritium? Tritium emits low, because tritium is an isotope of hydrogen. Tritium has the tendency of emitting beta particle. Tritium emits low energy beta radiation that cannot penetrate human skin, and that is why this isotope is very dangerous only if it is being inhaled or ingested. So tritium emits beta particle. Let us save that and go to next question. Neutron is not present in the nucleus. So when we talk about neutron is not present in the nucleus, immediately we should talk about the isotopes of hydrogen. And isotopes of hydrogen is being decided based on the concept that isotope is difference in the presence of neutrons. So of course, in protium, it is the normal hydrogen which has one proton and it does not have neutron. So the answer should be option B. Let us save that and go to next. Ratio of Bohr's radius of protium, deuterium and tritium. Ratio of Bohr's radius, protium, deuterium and tritium atom. So immediately we should understand that the Bohr's radius depends on atomic number. It totally depends upon the atomic number and not on the mass number. Therefore, all the three should have the same Bohr's radius. Hence, we can say that the ratio 1:1:1 should be the answer. So, option B. Let us save that and go to next. The number of isotopes of hydrogen. It is a well-known fact that there are three isotopes of hydrogen: protium, deuterium, and tritium. So it should not be difficult to answer. Option D is the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. And they have asked the radioactive isotope of hydrogen is, as we said, tritium is a beta emitting radioactive isotope of hydrogen, and it consists of one proton and of course two neutron, which makes it 3 times as heavy as other hydrogen nucleus. Hence we could say that tritium should be the answer because it has the tendency of emitting beta, or we can say it is a beta emitting radioactive isotopes. Hence option B should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. N by P ratio of, they have asked 1:1. N by P ratio of, so when we say for this is N by P ratio, that means N is of course going to be 0 here and P is 1 because, and here hence we can say N by P means 0 by P. Here N stands for neutron and P is for protons. So we can say 0 by 1, that means it will take up the value as 0. Let us save that and go to next. The electronic configuration of 1s1, it's of course the electronic configuration of 1s1, that is 1,1, 1,2 or 1,3. The electronic configuration is going to be 1s1 for all the three types of isotopes. Hence we could say the answer to be D. Save that and let us go to next. The bond length is more in. When we talk about the bond length, that is bond length is going to be same in all, because bond for three isotopes, bond length will be same because it is the distance between the nucleus, that is we can say internuclei distance, and here the isotopes just differ in the number of neutrons. It does not differ based on the distance. Hence we can say that bond length is going to be same in all, it cannot be more. Let us save that and go to next question. Which isotope of hydrogen is radioactive in nature? It should be of course tritium, because tritium has the ability of liberating beta particles. Tritium, that is the isotope of hydrogen, is radioactive in nature and it has the tendency of liberating beta particle, and yes, of course it has one proton and two neutrons in the nucleus. Hence we can say answer should be only tritium, that is option B. Let us save that and go to next. The metal that can't displace hydrogen from dilute HCl is, the metal that can't displace from. So if from the given option, if we say copper, silver, or we can say gold, all these things are less reactive than hydrogen. Copper, silver, gold. So when you see the reactivity series, we should analyze from that where hydrogen lies and where all the other option available. So from the, basically if you say copper, silver, gold, they are all will be, they are less reactive than hydrogen because they will be at the lower direction or at below hydrogen in the reactivity series. So from the given option only copper is available here, hence option C should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. So we have completed all the 15 questions. Let us see by giving end test. So if we talk about this chapter, it's of course 1% or 2% only weightage. That is maybe one question or two question from this chapter. Hence, it would be very simple to score one or two question, and that is, it will be very simple to score from this chapter since it is very simple and it is very easy to learn. And if you go to each question, that is, here we have done all the 15 question correct, but in case if we would have done any question wrong, it would have been indicated red in color, and if we leave any question unanswered, it represents orange color. And if you click on each question, that will give you the explanation as well as the right answer in case if you would have gone wrong. That's all for today's session. We'll catch you up tomorrow once again with a new chapter. And if you have any doubts, do reach us by, with the help of Ask feature available. You can post your question here, and also you can reach out to the tutors with the help of chat application, that is Telegram chat. And if you feel any chapter to be difficult or you need additional guidance, you can contact Play6 management for one-to-one tutoring from the Play6 tutor. Thank you, students.